Now, in the vast majority of video games, when you try to leave the open world or go outside the area that developers have created, one of two things can happen. Either you hit an invisible wall or you die instantly. But you know what? That doesn't always have to be the case. Because today we're looking at some really inspired examples of how designers kept you in the box. So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 genius ways video games don't let you escape. Number 8. A mime. Family Guy video game. During the early 2000s and the PlayStation 2 era of video games, an abundance of licensed games overflowed the industry. Whether it was a movie, cartoon, or anime, all major IPs were getting a rather mediocre game or two, and among them was Family Guy video game. This game is just what you expect it to be. It is nothing more or less. The combat is generic, the stealth missions are, well, utterly broken, and while some of the jokes are funny, most of them fail to capture the cartoon's humor. With all of this said, while most of the game lacks quality, it does have a pretty clever way of keeping you in it. If you try to exit the game's central area during its beat-em-up section, you'll hit an invisible wall, but not just any wall, one that is created by a mime. When you reach this point, Peter Griffin performs one of his iconic quips, and you can't help but laugh at the sheer cleverness and humor that this game has implemented, if only in this one example. Family Guy video game may not be anything special, but the developers were able to genuinely capture the cartoon's humor at this moment. Number 7. Zombie Dog Attack. Resident Evil. There are few openings in classic video games as iconic as the first cutscene from the original Resident Evil. The atmosphere is intense, the FMV cutscenes look surprisingly polished, but also B-movie, it's very weird, and the whole thing perfectly amps you up for what's to come. After you experience this, you might be so terrified of the zombies, dark corridors, and inevitable jump scares found in the mansion that you might try to exit through the front door and pretend that nothing has happened. But this is a big mistake. If you're unlucky enough to try this, you'll quickly find yourself bombarded by one of the zombie dogs that drove you into the mansion. Not only is this jump scare absolutely terrifying, I mean, look at that CGI, woof, that has not aged well, but you then have to fight and kill the canine, consuming precious ammo and resources in the process. And if you do this again, the same thing will happen. It's a brilliant way of keeping you inside the game and punishing you for trying to escape the horror that's within the mansion. You need to delve deeper into this horrible place, and there won't be an easy way to get out of it. Number 6. Shark Attack. CRYSIS. There are many games that you see on this list that will find creative ways of killing you instantly for trying to leave the open world, but CRYSIS was one of the first to implement this way of keeping you in. If you take a boat and try to explore the outer region of the classic first-person shooter, you might see a little fin come out of the water reminiscent of a 70s Spielberg movie. I think it's called E.T.? At first you pay it no mind, but then you see it again, and this time, it's definitely coming for you. You try and run away to see if maybe you can make it back into the game's world, but it's already over as the shark has destroyed your ship, and now there is no escape. Once the shark reaches you, it will kill you instantly as expected and leave you in a highly dire state that will likely make sure you never try to do this again. Now, there's definitely other games since CRYSIS with more terrifying and creative monsters to keep you inside, but this is the first one to do it, and so is the most memorable in all of gaming, arguably. Number 5. Infinity. Minecraft. Have you ever heard of inflation theory in cosmology? It's a scientific theory that states that the atoms that comprise our universe multiply amongst themselves infinitely, making sure that our world technically never ends. This means that no matter what we do, we'll never be able to escape our universe, just like we'll never be able to escape Minecraft. When you start playing the iconic indie game and explore its intricate and fascinatingly randomly generated worlds, you might ask yourself just how far you can go. How much of this world can you influence and for how long? The answer is not much, or at least it was in the older console versions of the game, as the planet you were on eventually hits an invisible wall that prevents you from going further. However, in the modern versions of Minecraft, the game will go on forever. Compared to other games, the developers didn't bother to create an illusion of a beyond or some outside world. Instead, they just make sure to keep you in it by making it impossible to ever leave it. Number 4. The Great Plateau. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. When you start Breath of the Wild for the first time, you'll be greeted with one of the most breathtaking openings in a video game, exiting your slumber as you witness the vastness of Hyrule for the first time. However, you won't be getting out of here anytime soon. At first, a simple cliff preventing you from exploring the central area of the game seems basic and not that especially clever, but there's more going on than you might realize. By presenting this seemingly impossible way to get out, players will start to come up with whatever way possible to reach the other side without attaining the paraglider, introducing experimentation and outside-the-box thinking, which is what Zelda is all about. Clever speedrunners and Zelda players have even discovered ways to make it past this point by using a variety of tricks and techniques learned over the years to get over that cliff. Only they then hit a trigger that takes them back to where they were. It might be disappointing that you can't skip the Great Plateau entirely, but this genius move blocking you from the rest of the world encouraged players to keep playing more than anything else. Number 3. Slender Man. Slender the Arrival. Now, Slender Man is not exactly somebody you want to encounter. He's tall, terrifying, and will quickly kill you in a jump scare, especially if you're playing his games. Instead of searching for the 8 pages you need to beat the game though, you might have this great idea of just simply leaving and letting Slender figure things out himself, only to find a variety of fences blocking your way. However, if you're good at platforming, you might be able to jump through and make it to the other side to reach an area that the developers didn't intend for you to find. Afterwards, you can explore to your heart's content, knowing that Slender Man can't get to you here, right? Well, that is until an ominous message appears on the screen, saying that not even a bug in the game can save you from him. Slender Man will then kill you before sending you to the game over screen. Like some of the best indie horrors around, Slender Man proves that there's no natural way to escape, and all you can do is knuckle down and confront him. Number 2. Blood Red Sea. Sea of Thieves. There are many terrifying monsters that developers have put in games to kill you the moment that you reach the world border, but Sea of Thieves has a more subtle way of doing things. If you try to explore beyond what the developers created, you'll see that the earth and sea will slowly turn blood red. You have more than enough time to turn back if you so wish, but if you for some reason continue to move forward, your ship will start to sink, and you along with it, and it won't take long after that for you to drown as well. When going through the experience, at all times, you'll be expecting a monster or some creature to appear to deal the finishing blow, letting your imagination run wild as you try to figure out what to do, only for nothing to happen, and you die in a rather anticlimactic manner. However, this subtle aspect makes the Blood Red Sea more terrifying than it would be otherwise, keeping you inside the game while also ensuring you'll never want to explore outside ever again. And number 1, Ghost Leviathan, Subnautica. When you crash land on the alien planet that makes up the world of Subnautica, you'll quickly realize that exploring the deep sea is, well, utterly terrifying. You'll have no idea what you'll find down there. There might be some innocent aquatic life just trying to get through the day, but at the same time, you might find a giant monster that definitely wants to kill you. Regardless, if you're brave enough to journey the ocean and start exploring outside the world the developers created, prepare to meet something that definitely doesn't want you to live. As everything gets darker, the computer will ask you if traveling further is worth it. Of course, you can ignore this and continue to then find a massive creature called the Ghost Leviathan. This thing is pure nightmare fuel, but also it is immortal, meaning that if you encounter it, there's not much you can do other than await your rather certain death. We've seen how monsters kill you the moment you go out of bounds before in games, but none are as terrifying as this. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 genius ways video games didn't let you escape. I hope you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I do all of my streaming and tabletop gaming outside of work, and it'd be great to see you over there, my friends. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Instead of trying to keep you inside the box today, I'm going to try and make you bust out of your shell and realize that you are a big ledge that deserves all of the best things in life, alright? I'm going to pump you full of positivity so that you can go out there and absolutely smash your life goals today. And that is by remembering that you deserve love, happiness, and success, and don't let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise, alright? You are a massive, massive ledge. Now go out there and smash it. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.